What turns a business research topic into a strong and justified study? A critical literature review does that by evaluating what is already known, where the gaps are, and how the research should move forward. This explanation walks you through the main ideas, steps, theories, challenges, and structure involved. A strong review begins with appropriate research objectives and clear justification. That includes background, aims, and objective selection, plus reasons for those choices. It also connects to the length of the research, knowledge enhancement, methodology, research type selection, data collection, analysis, and drawing a successful conclusion. They need critical justification, so the review supports a sound research design. A critical literature review is a structured evaluation of existing knowledge related to a specific research topic. It identifies, analyses, and synthesizes relevant literature. The aim is to build a comprehensive understanding, highlight gaps, and justify the focus of the research. A literature review establishes the context and theoretical framework for a study. It highlights areas where knowledge is limited, helping justify why the research is needed. It also helps avoid duplication and guides research design, methods, and analysis. In short, it gives the study a clear foundation. The first practical step is clear topic definition. A business research topic must be defined well enough to keep the review focused and relevant. One example used here is consumer adoption of affordable electric vehicles in Norway. A defined topic makes source selection and analysis more precise. Relevant literature should come from credible and varied sources. Academic journals offer peer-reviewed, theoretical, and empirical insight. Books provide deeper coverage of theories and methodologies. Industry reports, government publications, and carefully chosen web-based resources add practical data, policy context, and current information. Systematic search techniques help you locate useful studies efficiently. Databases named here include Google Scholar, JSTOR, ScienceDirect, and Emerald Insight. Searches can combine keywords such as consumer adoption, affordable electric vehicles, and Norway. Boolean operators like and, or, and not help refine results. Each source should be appraised for relevance, credibility, currency, and methodological rigor. You ask whether it addresses the topic, whether the author and publication are reputable, whether the material is up to date, and whether the methods are valid and reliable. Critical review depends on this disciplined evaluation. A critical review identifies and summarizes key studies, theories, and findings. That can include theoretical frameworks such as consumer behavior theories and empirical findings on adoption rates, influencing factors, and challenges. Summary alone is not enough, but it is a necessary step before deeper critique and synthesis. After summarizing, the review critiques the literature. It considers each source's strengths, such as its contribution to understanding the topic. It also examines weaknesses, including methodological flaws, bias, or gaps in coverage. This analysis shows not just what is known, but how well it is known. Synthesis brings separate findings together into a coherent picture. It highlights consistent themes and trends, such as pricing as a critical factor in electric vehicle adoption. It also identifies conflicting findings and possible reasons, including cultural differences across countries. This moves the review beyond a list of summaries. A strong review identifies gaps that justify the research. The examples here include geographical gaps, thematic gaps, and methodological gaps. The review then links those gaps to the research objectives. In the example, limited focus on affordable electric vehicles in Norway supports research into preferences, infrastructure readiness, and policy impacts. Recognizing these problems helps you plan a more disciplined and realistic review process. Technology can make the review process more manageable. Reference management tools named here include Zotero, Mendeley, and EndNote for organizing sources. Thematic analysis software such as NVivo can support qualitative coding and analysis. Advanced search options in databases also help improve the efficiency of literature searching. A good literature review is comprehensive, analytical, and focused on the research aims and objectives. A common structure begins with an introduction, then a theoretical framework, a review of empirical studies, identified gaps, and a conclusion. Structure helps the review stay coherent and purposeful from start to finish. Critical analysis of theory means comparing different theories and frameworks, selecting the most appropriate ones, and justifying their relevance to the research problem. A robust theoretical foundation supports understanding, interpretation, and investigation. It gives the research a clear lens for examining the phenomenon under study. The theory of planned behavior, associated here with AGEN, focuses on attitudes, subjective norms, and perceived behavioral control. It is presented as useful for understanding psychological factors influencing electric vehicle adoption in Norway. Its strength is comprehensive coverage of consumer behavior, while its weakness is limited attention to external factors. Diffusion of innovations, linked here with Rogers, explains how innovations spread and describes adopter categories. It helps analyze adoption stages in Norwegian markets, but it emphasizes process more than individual decisions. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, linked with Maslow, explains intrinsic motivations, though it is presented as simplistic and not universally applicable. The example research selects the theory of planned behavior as the primary theory, diffusion of innovations as a supplementary theory, and Maslow's hierarchy of needs as a supportive framework. Together, they conceptualize the phenomenon as factors influencing consumer adoption of affordable electric vehicles in Norway, including decisions, adoption patterns, and motivations. The theoretical framework brings selected theories together. From the theory of planned behavior, it uses attitudes, subjective norms, and perceived behavioral control. From diffusion of innovations, it includes adopter categories. From Maslow, it adds motivational insight, such as environmentally conscious decisions. The framework is judged by validity, applicability, and comprehensiveness. A structured and thorough critical literature review is a systematic evaluation and synthesis of research directly relevant to the problem and objectives. Its features include relevance, critical evaluation, synthesis, structure, and accurate documentation. It is built by defining scope, identifying sources, selecting literature, organizing findings, and critically analyzing patterns, contradictions, and gaps. Literature should be selected for relevance, credibility, currency, and diversity. The material highlights journals, reports, books, government publications, databases, and credible websites as useful sources. The review can then organize themes such as consumer behavior, adoption trends, market challenges, government policies, and sustainability motivations before linking findings back to research objectives. A critical literature review gives business research its structure, justification, and direction. You have seen how to define a topic, search and evaluate sources, identify gaps, compare theories, and build a thorough review. When these parts are handled carefully, the research stands on a stronger and more credible foundation.